Is this
So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another interview of the Shield Dude on a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined on the couch by Matt Harvey. You may know him as the lead singer and guitar for Exhumed. He also plays in Gruesome, and he plays in a few other bands, but we're here to talk about his solo record, or EP, if I say, that just came out digitally a few weeks ago. So first of all, Matt, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm just running around today, trying to get ready for the Exhumed tour that starts in May and wrapping up writing and getting everything in line to record the next Gruesome album this summer. So it's a little bit crazy. I was just eating lunch and I was like, shit, it's 12:30. Fuck. But other than that, no, I'm good, man. I'm good.
I'm sorry I had to cut your lunch short. So,
No, it's
uh,
all good.
so yeah, you're in the Pacific, in the West Coast. So,
Yes.
so yeah, this album is totally different from anything that you've done in the past. So it's called Toward the Cold Light, and it's 5 songs, and it's an instrumental record that I like the way that you describe it. You describe it like this is the you like what I read is that you were basically you walk your dog in the mornings and there's like a mist, and I'm guessing that's the music that played in your head while you were walking your dog.
Pretty much, yeah. I live not too far from the coast, and I was actually writing most of this stuff at the beginning of last year, 2023, and it was a very misty kind of winter. We get a lot of fog rolling in off the coast, um, and at the time I was getting up really early, so it would be kind of just before, during, and after sunrise every morning. And you're just kind of out there. Obviously I'm with the dogs, but nobody else is out, so it's just kind of you and your own thoughts in this sort of weird it's just a weird environment to be in, because it's not day, it's not night, and it's kind of a surreal kind of feel out there. And I just let my mind wander and think about just life and whatever else. And yeah, so this is kind of what came out of that.
Yeah, well, at that time in the morning, you're not gonna blast Exhume or Gruesome.
No, well, I mean, it depends. If I wake up and I have a lot of shit to do, then like tasks, then usually that's when I listen to metal. I'm like, oh fuck, I gotta clean the whole house. It's like, all right, just put on all like death and thrash metal. I gotta get this done. But if it's yeah, if I'm just out walking around for 40 minutes or whatever, then no, I'll chill out.
Yeah, so working on this music, I read you composed everything on this EP. Tell me what that process was like, because it has to be different when you're working on something solo than when you're in a band.
Yeah, it's really different. Obviously in a band you have sort of that soundboard of the other guys, whereas even if you like, write the whole song, basically somebody's going to say, hey, this part's not working, or this could work better, or like, why don't you I like this part, but what if we make this change? And so you have that kind of that chemistry and feedback that sort of plays out. Whereas if you're just writing something by yourself, um, it's just kind of you, and it's hard to be objective sometimes, and to sort of usually I kind of go through a phase where I'm like, this idea is amazing, I love it, and then the day later I'm like, this idea sucks, it's trash, like what was I thinking? And then usually somewhere in the middle I'm able to find something. But yeah, so it's really different, and it's really like mechanically different, because it's all done with virtual instruments and synths. There's like, I think, under 20 seconds of guitar on the record, and it's so heavily affected, that it doesn't even really sound like a guitar. Um, so there's no kind of physicality to executing the songs, which is I don't know, which it's kind of weird. So you just sort of, you're in a weird creative space that's at one time very freeing, because basically you're writing this music and then assigning different sounds to it, and you can make it sound like anything. But on the other hand, it's also kind of you feel a little bit lost, because you don't have that that environment. But I don't know. It was still a lot of fun though. And I really enjoyed working like that. But it's a strange process.
Where did you work on DCP?
Most of it I did either here in our studio, which is where I am right now, or just on my laptop at home. Sometimes basically I would just kind of come up with an idea usually in the morning and sketch it out, and then at the end of the day, after everything that I had to do was done, then I would sort of revisit it and start fleshing it out on the production side. Um, so it's a very just like I guess the inspiration for writing it was from a very solitary experience. Putting it together was also a very solitary experience.
Yeah, but you never know because it sounds like the soundtrack to a show, video games. Maybe you never know. Like if the bands, there's sometimes the bands say we're no longer. You can do that type of music.
I mean, that honestly would be like, if anybody out there watching this or listening to this, does works in video games or movies, like I would love to start doing that as like my day job. And also, I think I still feel like I have a lot of gas in the tank to keep performing and playing metal and stuff. But at the same time, it is physically taxing to travel all the time and to play clubs and working the way that we do. So at a certain point, you have to realize that the what seemed like endless amount of time actually is finite, and at some point there has to be, I don't know. I can't really see singing like Necromaniac when I'm like 65, but I don't know. I never thought I would make a record like this 10 years ago either. So who knows?
Yeah. You never know. You might maybe steal Mick Jagger's soul. I'm like, Mick, what do you take? Like he's like 80, is he like 80 or 81? And he's still
Yeah.
moving like he's like 20. Well, and of course he's got like a 25-year-old girlfriend.
I'll keep you young and limber,
Yes, I'm 46 and I'm thinking it would be hard to satisfy a 25-year-old.
Right.
Even
Uh,
at my age. So I'm thinking, how does he do it? But yeah, the music for this, yeah, I'm guessing it's gonna feel good. Like, what has been the feedback? Because I know there's some people in the metal community that are like, oh, if it's not like rural something.
right.
I don't have that problem because I listen to all types of music. And I was listening to this, in the morning. It's a great album to put in the morning while you're having your coffee, and
Right.
it puts you like in a serene type of mood.
Most of the feedback that I've received has been really positive, actually. And I think because of the way that I've tried to let people know about it. I mean, I guess market it. I tried to let people know from the jump, like, yo, this is not metal. It's not even rock. It's nothing like that. So if that's
It's
all
like
you want to give it, yeah,
ambient music. Yeah.
yeah. So if you only listen to metal, like you're not gonna like this, and that's cool. So I mean, I think I've tried to sort of put that out there so people aren't expecting grindcore or whatever. Um, but like it's been really positive actually. Like my buddy Sonny, who plays guitar for Necrot, he texted me a couple weeks ago and he's like, dude, I love the EP. I've been listening to it on tour till I try and like decompress after the shows and get some rest and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool. um and I guess it's what you were saying. It kind of makes sense because like I don't know, that's sort of my vibe. Is I'm a pretty laid back person, and I like to be calm about things. I don't like to escalate or get hysterical or overly emotional, like unless it's going to be in a positive way, and I know it's going to be in a positive way. um so it's very much like that kind of vibe. It's like contemplative and quiet, but not, it still has like some restlessness to it, some motion.
No, it sounds like the score to a movie
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like,
but not like a horror movie or something, but like a
no, not like a horror movie. It's more of like I would say like a fantasy type of movie, like or like medieval time stuff, Like
Okay.
you can put it in that scenery. No, it doesn't have that horror feel, and also it doesn't have like that sci-fi in space feel.
Right.
Like oh my god, I always forget the name of the band that did an album that was all. It sounded like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but their name always
Was it Blood Incantation? Was
Blood
it that?
Incantation. I don't know
Album?
why the name always
Yeah.
like yeah, and they did something like that. So I think it's more accepted. Only that they did it with the Blood Incantation tag, and maybe that
Right.
people were like more but you did it in Matt Harvey. So people people that don't listen to your other bands can actually listen to this. You don't have
Yeah.
to be metalhead to enjoy this.
I mean, that's exactly why I made that decision, because it's like, like you said earlier, I listen to all kinds of music, whether it's, soundtracks or R&B or jazz or pop or whatever. Um, and so if it's just me, then I feel like I have that freedom to just be like, I'll just do whatever I sort of feel like, because all of the bands, all the metal things I've done are they're really specifically focused, and I like that. As a fan, I don't like when bands. I don't like when bands are stagnant, but I don't like when they change too much either. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
I've talked a lot about some bands that like change drastically, and people
yeah,
they get mad if they change too drastically. And then there's the bands like AC/DC, who every album sounds like AC/DC.
right. Although, that last album they did, Power Up, that was actually like a pretty kick-ass AC/DC record. I was really pleasantly, them and the Scorps, like their last records, I was really into, and it really surprised me in a nice way. But yes, exactly. You know what you're getting when it's
I
AC/DC.
bought that last album from there. It was very. I think the sound of the record was very clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a very clean. And sometimes for metalheads that's like no clean, no. Like it needs to sound dirty. Well, no,
Right.
yeah, but it sounded clean. So how long did it take you to do these 5 songs?
Um, you know, it's tough to say, because it wasn't like I sat down and worked on it consecutively. It would be like I would write a song, and then I would get busy with whatever else, and I'd have an idea and I'd jot it down, and then I'd come back to it, kind of thing. So most of the writing probably took place over like 3 or 4 months, between like maybe like December and into the spring of last year. And then I didn't really know what to do with it. So I just sort of let it sit. And then I came back to it and sort of, made my little last tweaks that are just production stuff, like, EQing stuff and turning things up and down or whatever. And then I thought, well, I still don't know what to do with it. So then I had my buddy master it like last fall. And then I still was just sort of sitting on it. And then I was like, I need to get this, it's finished. I just need to like put it out somehow, to like, just so it's not sitting on the shelf. It just seemed like a waste. So it kind of took a long time, but, realistically, it didn't take there. During that time, I wasn't working on it that much. I would just sort of come to it when the mood hit me, which is sort of it's a nice freedom to have. Like when you have your own studio and everything, you're just like, hey, I'm inspired today. Like I got this thought, like, let me sit down and work on this for a few hours and then come back to it in a week or whatever, so I love having that freedom, man. It's nice.
Yeah, plus there's no vocals on it. You didn't have to worry about singing.
No.
Uh, but if you had like Enya singing over it, it would sound great.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Something over that, and it would fit in with the music. So I want to show the artwork. The artwork's pretty cool too, because it has a. You can tell me who worked on this. So yeah, this is a very cool artwork. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration for this artwork.
I hit up Jacob Spice, or Jacob Spice, I guess, who is the designer at Relapse. Obviously, I've worked with him for a long time through my other bands. And I just sent him the tunes, and I was like, kind of talked to him real briefly again, like, think early morning, it's misty, sort of nature, because that's kind of where I was at when I was getting these ideas. And he just wrote me back. He's like, actually, you know, I went to British Columbia on vacation, and I have a bunch of really cool photos, and like he just sent me a few photos, and that one I thought was really striking. And he's like, check this out. And then they added the sort of whirlpool and
Oh, I was gonna ask
the
because
text design.
yeah, because I talked to a band of Edinburgh called Hands of Kalayak, and they have an album that's all based on a whirlpool, but a real one that is
Oh, okay.
in that area. So I'm like, but yeah, so he made it. But yeah, so I become
Yes.
an expert now in like the whirlpools in the world.
It's a whole subgenre of metal now, just whirlpool metal. It's
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, like yeah, it looks beautiful, but I wouldn't want to be there.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah,
Exactly.
it's I think the cover really goes with the music. Also if you haven't heard the music, you would think that this would be like an epic like a folky type of metal album.
Sure. If it
With
was a
the
metal album, yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, but yeah, no, I like the cover. So yeah, so Matt, I know people can buy this digitally, or they're gonna be physical copies of this EP.
For right now, I'm just doing it digitally. You know, I think again, the main thing for me was it was something that I was finished with and I was really happy with. And I was like, well, I can't just leave it sitting on my computer. That's fucking stupid.
No.
So right now it's just on Bandcamp, which is, I forget it. I always forget which order, if it's like bandcamp.com/ or if it's the name / bandcamp.com.
Don't worry, I'll put the link on it.
Okay. All right, good. So it's just on Bandcamp. And really, again, like I said, it's something that I did just for myself for fun. So it's something that if you want to download it for free, you can download it for free. If you got a couple bucks to throw at me and you want to grab it, I mean, I'm not going to say no. But the main thing is, you know, I just want people to hear it and to be aware of it and to check it out. You know, it's like I said, it's something I'm really stoked on, and you know, I'm just stoked to be able to share it with people.
And you know what you should do when you go with Exhumed on tour? Before you guys go on, just play your EP.
All right, everybody, calm down. Just relax.
Or maybe at the end, when the show ends, you put that
Right,
everyone. It's nothing to see here. Leave peacefully.
right.
Or that would be like that's an intelligent move to put it before so they can be calm. Because like sometimes when you go to shows, I went to a show the other day. I went to see the Ocean in Puerto Rico, and they
Cool.
played, since they're European. I think they like a lot of like European music. They put a lot of like techno and stuff before. I was like, yeah, this is a nice different pace than just like you go to a metal show and they're playing metal before metal. I think it's too much. I like it. They played like other types of music, and then when they played,
Right.
it was good. The same thing happened when I saw Rammstein play. Before they played some. They were playing electronic music, like dance music. So
Okay.
I think it's good because if you're gonna see a metal, why do you want to get more metal?
Well,
Like,
yeah, we usually have like a playlist with Exhumed because it's, you know, pretty extreme. So we have a playlist of like old school metal, you know, like mostly like stuff from like 80 to 85. So it's still like heavy and aggressive, but you know, like Show No Mercy is definitely not as, you know, aggressive as like gore metal.
but
So,
what you need to do is put your EP, but you can like you can put some subliminal messages that like
buy
very
every shirt.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, buy this EP, and at the end of the when they they're all going to get out of the show, I'm like I feel a fucking urge
Right?
buy Matt's
So
EP.
weird. How did that happen? It's
Yeah,
good. I like
I remember when I was young, they did that to me to learn the multiplication tables. There was someone in Puerto Rico who did like a tape, and then they made me like sleep with the tape on. So then I would be like unconsciously it goes in the mind, and then you're reciting it. So you can do that, and people will be like, hey, I gotta buy your EP. Hey,
that stuff really works, man. I actually,
if YouTube can send you an album
yep.
and force it on your iPhones back in the day, you can do the same, man.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I don't know what you do if you have a day job, but clearly marketing is what you should be in.
No, I'm not in marketing. I'm actually, I mean, recruiting. I interview people for a living too. So It's
Oh,
so yeah, I should have gone to marketing. I got some good ideas. So your plans, this is out now. I know that this is not something that you're gonna tour with because this is like instrumental music, but like, is this something that like you want to do more this type of music in the future?
yeah, I actually have some more stuff that is either complete or extremely close to being complete. And I'm kind of like, I'm always writing music of some sort. And now that I guess I've done this, I'm sort of like, and it's been a positive experience. I just want to kind of keep throwing stuff out there. And especially because, as a solo artist, I can sort of just do whatever. So I'm just going to start putting stuff out and just be like, hey, I'm exploring this area. I'm doing this. I'm fooling around with this. And, hopefully people will find something in there that they dig, and just it's a way of, and it's also kind of a way of holding myself accountable because I'm really good at starting things, but I'm not as great at finishing them. So I got to be like, okay, no, it's done. It's stopped. This is finished now. It's on the internet. It's all over. You can't sit here and tweak it anymore.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. So you told me at the beginning that you have some tours coming up with Exhumed, right?
Yeah, we our first album just celebrated its 25th anniversary. It came out 25 years ago last
Wow.
October. So yeah. So because of that, we reissued that album on vinyl with Relapse, and now in the next sort of month or so, we have the second and third album coming back out on vinyl. And then we have our split LP that came out in 95 is also being reissued. So we have a bunch of reissues. And because of the 25th anniversary thing, we're just wrapping up like a band sort of history documentary that's going to be on our YouTube channel. And that's all tied into this new tour where we're just doing stuff from the first three albums in the split. So all the people that have been complaining at us for years, you never play this obscure song, you never play that. It's like, well, this is going to be your chance to get the set list that you want. Hopefully,
You need to troll them, and when you start the show, you just you can put your EP and just sit there.
Right,
You
exactly.
can do like a Roger Waters. You know what he did, that when he played a show and for the first hour he was like reading a book.
What an asshole.
I would imagine like being there, like, what the, and he's like, chapter 1. And people are like, what the fuck? And he read a book for 1 hour. I would have been so pissed.
I would have been fucking furious. I saw Roger Waters years ago, and it was actually really good. But I don't smoke pot, and I remember going there, and about 30 minutes into the concert, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm stoned." But it was great. Luckily, I wasn't driving or anything, and it was.
Where is Bruce Dickinson when you need him? He would
Oh
have
my god!
like shouting at people. Do not
Just an old man. You hippies and your weed. Fucking guy. Obviously, I love Maiden, but come
Oh
on.
yeah, yeah. No, I can tell you have the Maiden the poster behind and everything. But yeah, like so, and you're doing Gruesome's still gonna do something soon too, right?
Yes, I was just in Florida about a week and a half ago, wrapping up just all the writing for the new album, which again, much like this EP, is a project that has sort of lingered around for years. Although the Gruesome album has been lingering around for like 4 years, between all of our other bands and life, and the pandemic and everything else, this album has just somehow taken forever. And now we're finalizing details to get into the studio this summer, and this is sort of our take on the human era of death. So I think I'm really happy with where it's at now. If you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have just thrown my hands up in the air in frustration. But now I think we're in a great place, and I think people who like that record and that era of death, and who maybe are wondering if we can pull it off, I think we'll be hopefully very happy.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So when do you find the time to rest? Because with between all your bands and your projects? Like you're a busy man.
I have, like I have some weeks like this week is crazy busy. And then sometimes I'll have like 3 weeks where I don't really have to do much aside from answer a couple of emails. And, we have a web store and I'll just put a few t-shirts in the mail and that's kind of it. So it's like some weeks are like 100-hour work weeks. And then some weeks are like 7-hour work weeks. So it just sort of, I don't know, it just kind of comes and goes. And I try to balance it the best I can. And, I think honestly, writing music is one of the ways I release from pressure. So it's like I'll get done, I'll have a super long day, I'll get home, my wife and I'll have dinner or whatever, we'll watch TV, she'll fall asleep and I'll just be laying there and I was like, okay. Then I'll get up and I'll work on music for like an hour and then I can go back to sleep, or then I can finally go to sleep kind of thing, So it's very therapeutic.
But it's awesome that you get to, do all those projects and have a career of, not a lot of bands have that long career.
Thank you. I feel very fortunate, and I think that one of the ways that I try to not take it for granted is to just stay busy, because I recognize that I do have a pretty great opportunity, so I should take it,
Yeah, and I also read that you did something in 2021, very sci-fi instrumental. Last song of Krypton. So obviously you love Superman as well.
I do, yeah. I don't know if you can see behind me. There's a whole shelf of graphic novels and action figures. Yeah. And I have my actual comics over there.
What do you like? So are you more of a DC or Marvel fan?
I'm more of a Marvel fan, but I've been sort of writing these little themes and bits for a long time. And our bass player in Exhumed, Ross, he and I first met through like comics and like tabletop role-playing games back in high school. And so we talk a lot about comics and shit in the van, and it really annoys everyone else in the band. It's like, guys, do this somewhere else. Like, we don't want to hear about Ant-Man for an hour. But
I was very surprised when they made that movie. Like Ant-Man, really?
The third one, maybe not.
I never saw the third one because I'm telling you, Matt, I've had like a comic book movie fatigue. They're like
everybody, yes.
The same thing. I used to love Star Wars. Now I kind of hate it because it's like there's too much, and everything that they put out is more shittier and shittier and like really bad acting. I'm like, you guys are ruining my childhood. like you made it lame.
I mean, there definitely is a glut, and I think it's like anything else, though. I mean, I think about it like, I'm around the same age as you. I'm 48, so like, 1989, 90, 91. You had so many great death metal records coming out, and 89 was kind of when the dam started to break, and by like 92, 93, I was like, look, another death metal album. I bet Scott Burns recorded it. Yeah, I bet Dan Seagrave did the fucking cover art, blah, 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 blah. Like, fuck. So it's just a tendency of anything. It's like, look, it's successful. Let's flood the market with what's successful.
Oversaturation. Like in the 90s, I love grunge, but then like every other week, there was a new grunge band. And you're like, oh my God. And none of them were as good as the original ones. So yeah, I think it happens with everything. But yeah, with Marvel, Marvel's too much, and DC, they just keep rebooting because
they haven't got it right the first time.
I'm like, oh my God, just like I remember when Batman was Superman, the movie came out, and I was like excited to see it, but then I was thinking, how can Batman beat Superman? Like I like Batman more because Batman, I think I had this conversation with my girlfriend, and she's like, okay, I geeked out, and she was like, I don't care. I'm like, because think about it. When Batman goes out, there's always a possibility that he can die. But Superman, unless you have a whole shit of like kryptonite, you can't do anything to him. Right. So yeah, Batman, and I don't know who's playing Superman now, but
I'm not sure who it is. I mean,
they should have left Henry Cavill. I thought he was great.
He looks like Superman. I mean, it's like he's been in bad movies.
You like look at him and you feel like damn, I go to the gym. Well, nothing like that ever happens. Like
Well, you need a nutritionist and
oh
a
yeah,
personal trainer and a physician to prescribe you
no,
HGH.
no, no. You need a lot of things. So I'm like, who the hell is going to play it now? So yeah. So are in the music, are you ever gonna do like more like stuff more comic related? Like because I know there's bands that Anthrax had done in the past and they do stuff related with comics. When they did
Um,
the what was the comic that they did? Anthrax
they did
did.
like an Among the Living graphic novel, right?
Yeah, they did the I Am the Law from the
From Judge Dredd, yeah.
Judge Dredd. If
Yeah.
people remember that awful Sylvester Stallone movie.
The Kyle Urban movie is great. I don't know if you've ever seen just Dredd, not Judge Dredd,
I
Dredd.
haven't seen that one.
Dude, you gotta see it. It's fucking amazing. Like it's really, really good. Um, but as far as like with Exhumed, we've talked about doing like sort of like an EC Comics type thing, or like doing like, you know, because I love horror comics like Creepy and Eerie, Gore Shriek, and Dead World was a great one back in the day. Vincent Locke, the Cannibal Corpse art guy, his comic. So we talked about doing something related to that, but it had never quite come together. Um, for me personally, I do have another sort of like superhero themed album because I've gotten a lot better since doing the Superman one. And I'm kind of just in my spare time, just like putting the finishing touches on that
Which
right now.
superhero will it be?
I don't want to say because I just don't want it to. I just because there's so many superhero movies and stuff. I don't want to. I'm like don't want to jinx it that if they decide to do something with this character, then I'll be like fuck, and I have to like reconfigure it basically. But it's like it's an older character from the 70s and 80s. It's a Marvel thing. So yeah, it's sort of like horror adjacent, espionage adjacent. So I don't know. That might give some
Interesting.
clues. Yeah.
So what do you think of these reboots? Like they're rebooting Blade, they're rebooting the one that's got me the most pissed is The Crow. Like
Oh, I heard about that.
I'm like that movie should not be touched. That 1994 movie, first of all, like Brandon Lee died making
Right.
it. And I saw the trailer for the new one, and it just I'm like, no, I'm like that one was perfect. And I remember seeing that it was perfect, like the movie was perfect, and it was tragic that Brandon Lee died tragically doing that movie,
Sure.
and he played an awesome character. Plus the music in
I
that
remember
movie
the
was
soundtrack
great.
album more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Um,
soundtrack was great. It had Nine Inch Nails. I think it had
Pure did a
Helmet.
great song there.
I think
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine. I remember Nine Inch Nails a lot because they had a song on that album that was pretty cool. But
Joy Division cover.
they had a Joy Division, yeah, cover.
What,
And
what the fuck? Imperialist, they have cookies.
I think it's Dead Souls. Or so. They keep
It
calling
is
me.
Dead Souls.
The
Thank
one
you.
that
Yeah.
they keep calling me.
Yes. I couldn't get to the chorus. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. Um, I think the thing about reboots is that it's kind of inevitable because we're stuck in this loop now because we have so much access to all of the content, for lack of a better word, that was created before. We've always been nostalgic. I think of it like in the 70s, they had Happy Days, which was about the 50s. In the 80s, they had the Wonder Years TV show, which was about the 60s. And then they had that 70s show in the 90s, which was blah, blah, blah.
And now
So
Stranger Things talking about like 80s.
about the 80s. So it's like we've always been like a nostalgic culture. But now that we have not just there's so much media built up because there's more and more media getting created every decade from like the dawn of film. And because of the internet, we now have unlimited access to that media. So it's even easier to be even more nostalgic. And, because movies and all this shit, it's so expensive to make it, they're much more willing to make something that they think has a built-in audience because it already is a thing, right? So with The Crow, it's like, okay, so the 90s are what people are nostalgic for, even getting into the early 2000s at this point. So it's very 90s. It's something that, there it's It's something that they can update. Comic books are more popular, or comic book related properties are more visible now than they've probably ever been. So the studio's like, sure, 90s comic book. All right, let's do it, Um, I
Yeah.
don't know. I've resigned myself to it because it's like, I'll never break the cycle. And again, like the first Exhumed record is now 25 years old,
Yeah.
and we're going to go out and play it on tour. So it's like, I'm just as guilty with Gruesome too. I mean, I'm just as guilty as anybody else. I mean, Gruesome is basically just an homage band, So it's like this is the culture that we live in, and it's always been there. It's just, especially the older as we get older into our 40s, not you already know how the sausage is made, so you're looking back, you're like, this isn't fucking new, this is just the same old shit. Whereas somebody that's 19 might be like really excited about it, like, oh, I heard about this old thing that my cool uncle liked or whatever, and now I'm going to get my own version of it. And that's, so it's tough to really say what it means to other people, and I'm just like, throw up my hands, I give up,
Yeah.
man.
I
So
know
some of
one
it,
movie is not going to be remade, but I would dare the studios remake Howard the Duck.
I love Howard the Duck. I
I
love that
used to
comic.
love that when I was a
I
kid.
like I like the movie as well. I mean, they featured Howard the Duck in a couple of Guardians of the Galaxy
Oh yeah, there was like I
cutscene
think at the
stuff.
beginning of the last one, you saw Howard the Duck at the end because the
Yes,
Benicio del Toro character, the collector, had him.
yes. So they've used the character, but I don't know.
That movie was
I'd be
way
open to
ahead
it.
of its time. Like
It
I
was.
remember watching that as a kid, and now when I analyze it, there's a scene where basically the Leah Thompson character is ready to have sex with a duck.
Yeah, she's gonna fuck Howard.
Yeah, and as a kid, I saw that as a kid, and I'm like, I don't see anything wrong with that. And now
I
if I
was just like, I want to kiss Leah Thompson too. This is great. And I was like, but then you think like, wait a minute, how does this work?
he's a duck. Yeah, so yeah, it's a cult classic, but I love that movie as a kid. I'm like, remake Howard the Duck.
I'm ready. Let's start a campaign. I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yeah. And so, Matt, it's been awesome chatting with you about music, comics, all your bands and stuff. So, anything before we go that you like to say to the fans?
I would just say, if you're still watching after all this, if all the Howard the Duck talk has not made you leave, thanks for checking it out and sticking with us. And I've got a new EP. You can get it for free. So hey, check it out, and hopefully I'll see you on tour with Exhumed this summer. And yeah, thanks for everything, man.
Awesome. So, people, listen to that new EP, Matt Harvey EP. It's put it in the morning, put it when you want to chill out. Like, if you're a metalhead and you're lonely, you can put this on a date with a girlfriend, and maybe you'll get lucky.
I'm
So,
here to help.
yeah, we're here to help. So, until next time, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and goodbye.